Good evening. Welcome to our new interface, our new studio look to our new show. It's going to pick up from where the Rum Shop Talk on a Thursday was. We had some, I don't want to say complaints, but we had some people that had a difficulty coming on a show called Rum Shop Talk. So we experimented with different names and decided on, you know what, I'm just going to make it what it is. Phillip Edward Alexander Live. I am going to host a show for the next 18 months leading up to the next general election. And the purpose of that show always will be to address the issues that are affecting everyday people in Trinidad and Tobago and all that is required to make this a better country. So to kick off this season, I have Satish and David Welch working very hard behind the scenes, making this happen. We're going to try to do some videos while we're doing the show. And today, I am joined in studio by two of the best people to help us kick off a show of this nature. Next week, Thursday, and I'm telling you from now, it was supposed to be today, but we wanted, as you could see, look at the time, it's 5:22. We were supposed to start 5 on the dot. We've been in here since noon. So we had to get all the bugs out of the machine. Next week, Thursday, 5 on the dot, we're going to have a panel, besides our panel and our guest hosts, because the two people you're going to talk to just now, they're our guest hosts, they're not guests. And besides our guest hosts, next week, Thursday, we're going to have a panel of local and international doctors dealing with all manners of public health issues. But I want to introduce the two guest hosts tonight, one by one. And first, I want to bring on a young lady who is getting to be known with needing no introduction. She is one of my deputy political leaders, Limma McLeod Wilkinson. Hello, Limma.
Hi, good evening.
Speak to your camera, not me. Talk to your people.
Good evening, everybody. What's up? This is my first official video or time being a co-host on a show like this, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah? The issues we're going to address today are all of the issues that are circulating in the public space. I have somebody who's guiding me, and she is a psychologist and a counselor. She tells me that people like hand gestures. It makes you come across more encouraging. So come aboard and listen to Stephen Matheson. A well-known Rum Shop Talk member.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, viewers. It is really nice to be here this evening as one of your guests.
Guest host.
I was part of the introduction of the Rum Shop Talk. I find it to be a very good show, and I don't know why we would want to change it, but it has changed, so I'm happy to be here also. And I will try my best to be here as part of the show from here on.
We're supposed to have a video cued to give us a musical interlude that allows us to change to get into the actual show. That's supposed to happen now. Let me see if it does. I just heard Master Control said it's not. So yeah, this is
unfortunately, Satish is the man in charge of production.
That's David blaming Satish. Throw him under the bus one time. Are we going to be in a position to play videos at any point? Today?
Yeah, today we'll be able to.
Tell me when you're ready and you could cue that video to play first.
But wait now, you send it to me.
Stephen, you asked a question. It was a good question, and he and I were talking about it off air because it took so long to come up with the brand Rum Shop Talk, and I love it. But there were people, not limited to people who are religious or people who are in public life in a way that they cannot be associated with a show called Rum Shop Talk. Notably, rest in peace, Herbert Volney, who wanted to be on a panel on the show repeatedly, but he felt that because he was a former High Court judge, he would be doing disservice to the brand. Stephen, what do you think on that?
You know, persons would have their views, religious and otherwise, and I just find the show is a good show. It was a show where you can.
It could be the same show, it's just a brand.
Less formal, because of the rum. And,
but there was no rum.
And it allowed you, yes, we were drinking rum sometimes. Oh. And
so is it that Volney didn't drink alcohol?
You know,
he looked like a Scotch and brandy kind of.
And I don't know. I really don't know. But I think it was the association. He told me that one of the media had published something about him, beach bum, during the lockdown. Yeah, when he wasn't allowed to go on the beach.
Yeah, but he wasn't here. He was in Dominica.
Right. But because they used beach bum, he said that was, I think it was defamation or something. And he sued them. I don't know what happens to that case now that he is no longer with us. But I have to share the link that Satish would have sent me by now. So the idea behind this show is still to be as freewheeling and as informal as Rum Shop Talk was, while still dealing with the issues, but without the rum.
Okay.
Yeah?
Somehow in Errol Fabian in here, but yeah.
You're hearing Errol Fabian in here. Yeah. I find Satish is not trying to use the long shot at all, and we have a nice long shot. Yeah, look at that. We have a nice long shot. We have two other shots, and I wish they would circle through it a little bit so that you could see exactly what's going on in here in the studio. I posted a picture of what it looks like. Somebody messaged me and said it looked like a rock and roll album cover. So let's get on into some of the issues now. I don't know if I'm going to get my video at all, so that I could share the links. David, am I standing by for that video? What? I didn't get that.
You didn't send it.
No, I told Satish which video to use. So, right. As I am dealing with this, I have to send them a message.
You went anywhere for Carnival?
Yeah, I went a couple bets.
Also, you in the 559 category? They say 559 new cases. You didn't, you're not sick or anything?
I didn't take the vaccine, so I went sick. To me, that is for people who took that vaccine.
That was one of the questions I wanted to ask your brother if he was here.
Next week. That's happening for sure.
Okay.
So hopefully we iron out all of the bugs so that next week when...
I really want to know how many times somebody could get COVID.
Somebody's getting it a lot. It seems to be the people who took the vaccine and took the multiple shots.
Right. So therefore, did he take it?
We will talk about that. We will talk about that when the scientists are here. I am not a scientist, and I can't pronounce on that. But something seems to be very strange about the people who took that vaccine.
Well, I mean, it's too late now to say this to caution you, but social media is still very knee-jerk about words, and they use those words to punish people. Words like, so people use the word jab instead of, and you know, so you can't even name viruses anymore. Speaking.
You see no happening in
no, brother, I'm telling you, right now.
In the U.S. Supreme Court with respect
but
to that.
Today, Facebook pulled down. We have many pages, but today Facebook pulled on one of our bigger pages, 120,000 followers. And they said that they pulled it down because I was impersonating me.
Somebody reported the page.
Has plenty of them. This is what the PNM and the UNC does. They have these people who sit in their bedroom, drooling on their computer.
They probably get paid.
That's exactly what they're paid to do. and there's also this thing called storm bots, I found out. So you have to do things to protect yourself and to protect your social media presence. And one of those things is to have multiples of avenues.
Yeah.
Our WhatsApp alone is 100,000 direct messages. So when we send out a WhatsApp blast, it gets to people in a way. If you have a Facebook post, they could pull down the page and they could pull down the post, but they can't stop something like a WhatsApp blast that goes to 100,000 people one time. But when we post, like right now, this video here is being broadcast here, is being broadcast individually on about 7 different pages. We are going to be also broadcasting on our TikTok page, which have nearly 1 million followers. We're going to be broadcasting on, we're doing a lot of work on Instagram now to build the Instagram followers. But you have to be outside there fighting and defending, because it's a social media war. CNC3 can't get the numbers I get. When we get information from Facebook at the end of the month and we see that we had 7 million interactions in 28 days, they don't know how we get those numbers. And those are the 7 million interactions that Facebook is counting. That's not what's going on TikTok. That's not what's going on WhatsApp. Because a WhatsApp video, when it goes viral, when somebody forwards something to you and you see forwarded many times, that's viral. That's unstoppable. That's in the national psyche now. And we have those things, and we're constantly redeveloping ourselves and re-engineering. We have pages that are disconnected from us. I was the founder of Breaking News. It's one of the biggest pages online. And I had somebody named Sheldon Hawaii fronting it, who, rest in peace, he died 2 days ago from COVID. But we have a lot of those pages. We have Hardcore News, who just rebroadcast one of my videos, the bank video, and he got about 280,000 views right now on that video. So you have to keep working at building how you broadcast. They and we work very hard at that. Having a free-flowing format, and the idea is by next week to have more guests and more guest hosts, so that everybody can have their opinion and have their say. And it's not limited to just PEP supporters. If PNM spokespeople want to come on the show, if they're brave, come. And UNC people, but they're not capable of debate. There's nobody. What's supposed to take place in the parliament, and remember, you see this for yourself, what's supposed to take place in the parliament is debate. That's not debate. What goes on in Trinidad is 12 minutes of you stand up and speak to the speaker, and then you sit down. And somebody else stands up and speak to the speaker and sit down. And there's rat pack behavior where I try to put in tongue-in-cheek something to damage the character of somebody else in the house or in the room, and then they have to beat up the desk and talk about standing orders and all kind of stupidness. But the public don't get a debate between people. They don't get something that is, so you can't say that they're talking about an issue and debating the merits of the issue.
You know, today I was in a grocery and I saw, I mean, we talk about this all the time, but I saw this grocery was selling plantain by the grain. One plantain, right? They were selling a basket with a whole set of plantain. And when I picked up one, a small one, and it was $11. And I just intimated to myself, wow, $11 for a plantain? So a gentleman was next to me and he started to laugh. He said, yeah,
how much is it for the plantain?
$11 for one grain. So he said, yeah, the government haven't found a way to secure food security. And I said, the government, you're looking at the government, they haven't found a way to secure nothing. So he started to laugh. I said, well, boy, at the end of the day, the government or governments doesn't seem to be able to get a handle of anything in the country. And maybe we should start looking outside of the UNC and the PNM. So he said, well, who? I said, well, maybe we should give a man like Phillip also a chance. He said, nah, Phillip is a madman, man. I said, well, maybe we need to give a madman a chance, because we had sane people in office all the time. And for the last 60 odd years, and nothing has been happening. They haven't been able to get it right. So maybe we should give somebody else an opportunity who wasn't
Let me
there
tell you what
before.
the PNM is doing. I'll tell you this nice and easy. I remember when Garnet Mungle Singh, the founder of Hobson's law firm, when he was jamming Manning, they had a picture of Garnet Mungle Singh in a green jockey shorts dancing in some party, and they published Garnet Mungle Singh in his green jockey shorts in the bomb, which was supposed to destroy Garnet Mungle Singh's ability to contest. Duke and what Duke just went through with all them video with him, because watch me, half of them inside of there have their own room 201. Half of them bracing, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, because you have the Sabga report with pedophiles in the BNM, and then you have human trafficking now, so obviously, Parliament full of sick people.
Sickos. And,
Of course.
but nothing
Who
is
played
turn
Uno?
on a sicko more than a camera. Film me, baby. So hear me. Half of them inside of there.
So Duke and Kiesel, whoever her name is, they are just a microcosm of what's going on in the politics.
So Trinidad and Tobago, you will make me.
Our own
I'll come back to this, right? But you see, that is PNM have run out of ways to try and silence Phillip. So now they're telling their supporters that anybody who could tell you that the PNM is that wicked to its own supporters have to be a madman. So that's what they're trying to tell them. That's the narrative they're trying to spread. But when those same people come and look, I sure that phone have a silence button.
Yeah.
When those same people come and they check and they see what we stand for,
me call you
because
back.
those same people know that Keith Rowley is in bed with the 1%. Keith Rowley's answer about the banks, because all of a sudden the UNC jump on our bandwagon and talking, are you going to challenge the rates of banks and the rates they're charging? And I ask, why is the UNC asking this question when they were in government? They had a special majority. They could have acted unilaterally. Trinidad. So I want to come back to where I was just going. So, but when people tell you things like that, when you hear a description like that, you know that they panicked and they're frightened because you could be a politician to the ilk of David Abdullah and Gary Griffith, my partner, and you could get on every media. Phillip can't get on a media. Before there was a Progressive Empowerment Party, if you remember, Phillip was on all those morning shows every week. I was the answer to Faris every week. Me and Faris was talking to each other through Hamer. And I remember I brought and I showed that there was times when my articles were the top story in the media. Don't publish me anymore because there is a real chance that the contract mafia is going to get exposed through us and the Progressive Empowerment Party. And people are telling one another more and more, that's the real alternative. The Progressive Empowerment Party is an army of lions, led by a lion. Look at the people who in our party, who stand up for our party. If the Progressive Empowerment Party was 1/3 of that parliament, PNM and UNC in trouble. Look at the kind of people we have.
Phillip, there is no doubt that you have a significant amount of support. How you, whether or not you could translate that into winning an election, that's the next question. That's something you will have to work on. The people of Trinidad and Tobago will have to see the value in that. What I could see is that when I looked at what would have transpired over the last few weeks with Duke, Watson Duke, and how the supporters of the PNM would have tried to use that to link what is happening in Tobago with Duke, I thought that was disappointing. And the thing is, it was clear that what they were trying to see is that Tobago people, let's see what's going on, we tell all of that, this is going away and that kind of thing. But really and truly, Duke has nothing to do with Fali and
forget all that for a minute. Come back to what I was just saying there, because I want to tell you something. We have seen so much pictures. There are pictures out there with Faris and Keith Rowley sitting on the owner of a brothel.
Yeah.
I never see a picture nowhere on social media of Rowley whining on Sharon. I see Rowley minding on all kind of people. I see him dance with Sharon like if he was dancing with Amy Brown. And a little standoffish. You understand what I'm saying?
It looked awkward. It didn't look
Sharon,
genuine.
they don't look like they love each other. They
Not
don't look
at
like
all.
that is a relationship.
No.
But the smile, the genuine smile in Rowley's eyes, in that picture with the man from Copa, I never see a picture with him and Sharon with him looking so. The whole special branch, and I want to tell PNM supporters this, they're bloody hypocrites. The whole special branch talk that they try to bury. Don't bury that. What Eric named the Fat Ass Brigade, that PNM Women's League that's only reared the ugly head when it's time to defend the PNM from the same slackness. Daryl Smith, Groper man, his team were accused of perverting the course of justice where that girl and her, but look where they're going to go with this talk because they're trying to throw it in the UNC camp. The United States report says the government. Sabga report said the PNM.
Yeah.
Karen Nunes Teixeira told the PNM that Patrick Manning say that the PNM is owned and operated and controlled by serious drug trafficking cartels. She said Manning told her, you wouldn't believe who in this society involved in that. But I was going to tell you something just now. Trinidad is a hypersexualized society. You cannot tell me Ash Wednesday and some burnt palms on my forehead absolving me from what I do for the last month. When you read this guy's column today, we talk about Carnival. He said, what it is he was saying? And I'm talking about somebody highly noted in there. He said, Paulo Cardahan, when he described it, he said we're rotting in the road.
Yes, because right now we have the Archbishop telling us to, behave and don't bad talk your country or whatever the case is. And he's the same one putting the ashes on your forehead. But he's also the same one who is not making sure that the abuse in the children's home is investigated and the perpetrators are caught and sent to be arrested, charged and prosecuted. He's not ensuring that is happening.
Well,
why is he not standing up for Akil Chambers and all these others?
In any case, even on a global scene, there seems to be a moral institutionalization, a sex and homosexuality and everything. If you turn on your TV and you watch any movie now, any modern movie now, you seeing man kissing man, woman kissing woman as like a normal thing.
No, but I want to tell you this.
And the same thing is happening.
But I just want to say this. I am not a prude. I don't think you're a prude either. You could show me a picture of a man kissing a breadfruit and a woman kissing a plantain. I don't care.
Right.
I'm not in your bedroom. My politics has always been, I don't care who you're praying to, I don't care who you're lying down with in the night.
Right.
There are 3,000 religions in Trinidad, 3,000. So I am not the one to judge. I am not the one to judge who you should lie down with, and I'm not going to. But what I hate is the hypocrisy of the morality police. What she talking about there, you cannot pick and choose which article, which issue you're going to jump up on and beat yourself into a frenzy while ignoring the rest. The PNM that want to talk about anything, and Devon Maraj is the biggest hypocrite of all, talk about a sellsword, talk about a gun for hire. You say what you want him to say. What you want him to say. Vasan Barrett can't win a bingo in Trinidad. They tried to form a party with Timothy Smith called Hope. Everybody calling the party Nope. Nope.
They launch
it in Marabella or something. They are Purple Party and everybody saying it's Nope. Steve Alvarez is a columnist. He's a permanent article writer. None of these people, and he have a political party, a political party 40 years. None of these people have been able to get the traction that the Progressive Empowerment Party has been able to get. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. We're not just talking, and they were saying in Trinidad, too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Everybody in that party is a boss.
But Philip, if I were you, I wouldn't even go down that road about talking about other parties in that kind of way. For the simple reason that Trinidad and Tobago is a small place, right? Listen to what I'm saying. Trinidad and Tobago is a very small place, and votes win election. Everybody fighting for the same people to vote for. If But the common enemy, in my opinion, is the people, the parties that have been in power for years and that are doing or not doing what they should be doing for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, making it very difficult for them. Just now, allow me to finish. Making it very difficult for them to survive and sustain living. What we need, all those Steve Alvarez and all those Vassant and all them people, the people that follow them, right? If we keep talking like they are probably doing something wrong on the wrong side or whatever, Phillip against them against Phillip kind of thing, then we will separate the whole thing and we will have the existing parties that have already established themselves moving back into office.
Answer that?
And what I'm saying,
what you just said there?
just now I'm saying,
Don't stray too far from that point, because I want to answer that point.
I'm saying that maybe we should start trying to build, I'm just saying you, right? Phillip Alexander, his party, should start trying to build some bridge. Try to get it good from the people that are not necessarily with you, but have a problem with the establishment.
Could I answer you now? Stephen, I want to promise you something, and I want to promise every voter in Trinidad and Tobago this. We will not lie. I have people with me. I didn't make Lima an activist. Lima was a strong voice, and she and I used to talk online 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Anne-Marie Dulal, I didn't make Anne-Marie Dulal. Anne-Marie Dulal and I used to talk on social media 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I didn't make Ian Griffith. I met Ian Griffith in a protest. We protested side by side and stood up for serious issues long before there was ever the thought of a political party. Those people that I just named, just those three to name a few, not going to stick around if they thought I was a hypocrite. I am a leader here because of all of them. We, on a Saturday, when we meet as a caucus, everybody has a say in how this party. I am a voice. I am a strong voice, and I know that that's my role. I am chief evangelizer, but I am not capo, tito capo in this party. For us to work with any other party, those people I just named, and others like Satish and Sean Sunarain and Precious Cruikshank and David Welch, and we have a lot of people, and if I start to name, it'll take the whole show. These people that you're talking about, when they're coming out of party, you think Timothy Smith don't know Progressive Empowerment Party exists? We formed in Stanmore Avenue in 2017, 2 blocks from his office. You think he don't know we exist? Steve Alvarez has come to me every time one of these things, like Better United and Alliance and all of that fall apart, he's come to me to drink from this well. He's come to hear where we're talking about. We've met with everybody. We met with Congress of the People, Kurt Sinnett and Lonsdale, I think is his chairman's name. We spoke with them. We speak with everybody. I speak to Gary Griffith almost daily. Everybody knows there's a Progressive Empowerment Party. Everybody knows what we stand for. Everybody knows what we stand against. We are consistent. You cannot tell me, Stephen Matteson, that we could be proper leaders in this country and go down the road that the other political parties have gone down by telling you what you want to hear. You know people tell me that? Boy, tell them what they want to hear. When you get in office, you're going to fix it. Do it your way. You can't do that. You're going to need.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying to do
people
that.
But people saying that. I cannot work with some of these people because I find their politics is too pliable. No matter which party I have been in, I have been a member of the Congress of the People. As a member of the Congress of the People, I stood for things that when the People's Partnership varied, I left. It is when Vernon de Lima came on that Fazil Mohammed show, that TV6 that morning, and looked into that camera and said, Madam Prime Minister, we didn't sign up for that. Catherine Stallmeyer White, God rest her soul, they just buried her this week here. She took me back inside and signed me back up in the COP. And I stood with them and fought with them and tried to help them till the very end, till it went nowhere. And I said, you know what? Look how much times we try with all of these parties before we get to the point where we say, you know what? Let the issues decide. Create policies based on those issues. Come to the people, because a lot of these political parties form with no idea what they're standing for, you know. The Progressive Empowerment Party is the only political party. I tell you, even the PNM don't know. Even the UNC don't know. When Kamala's people outside here, when Stephen Cadiz and Vasant Bharat, when these people putting out posts today that contradicts what they did when they were in office, you can't compare them to us. And how will the voters feel? And I'm just saying this, because I'm very strong on this. How will the voters feel if we go into bed with people who sat down? I told Carolyn Sipasad Bechan, you cannot support desalination in a country that gets more water than it knows how to deal with every year. Every single year in Trinidad and Tobago for the last 30 years, some part of Trinidad drowned with flood, yes or no? Just that water, captured, held, treated and distributed, is water for all. But people came out of government, having sat in government, and realized, rather than give them water for all, we will find a way to sell them water for all. And that's what they did. Every one of these politicians trying to enrich themselves. Our law association does not stand up for this country. I don't know what oaths they're taking. When I tell you next week Thursday, we have a panel of local doctors. These are people who are willing to put themselves on the line. That's what you need. You need law enforcement people to stand up and say, you know what, fire me. I'm not doing this no more. I remember this boy, Michael Phillips, when he was in Sport TT. He said, nah, I didn't sign up for this. I'm done. Hold the salary. That's what we need. We need Trinidadians to love this country more than themselves. We need them to love their families and their children, because just today I thinking, you could drop, I have been burying people for the past couple months. You could literally drop dead today, and every opportunity you had to leave this country better for your children gone. So now, the things you didn't fix, they're going to bite them in the ass. You're responsible for that. Yes or no?
Yeah. And not only that too, most of these new parties, when you look at the dynamics of the people, who they really relating to, only 1% or a certain percentage of the population, they're not talking about the people who actually having the hardship, the problems. And that was one of the good things about our candidates, and I told somebody that recently. Our candidates were people from on the ground every day. We going through the same problems together. You think the opposition leader, Keith, anybody in PNM or UNC or Gary Party or Hope going through the same problems a single mother going through having to go to the supermarket, and you're adding up everything on the bill by the time you reach by the cashier, you tell the cashier, hey, what? If it costs 1,000?
Well, you know, you're
that's the reality.
No, I'm saying, and you know, this is something I talk about every day. I wonder, most of the people in Trinidad and Tobago, the largest area or the largest demographics of persons who work for like 5,000 and under, right, is the people. That is, from the working people, the largest group are a group that work for 5,000 and under, right? And I'm telling you that one person could never survive and live a normal life, pay all their bills, go to the grocery for gas in a car, or even own a car with $5,000. That's almost impossible. It
have people right now who we would consider having a good salary, like say like a policeman or whatever, and they
that
still
is not a good salary,
right? But then somebody who making 5,000, 3,000 will think, wow,
so a policeman making what, about 9, 10, 11,
yeah, somewhere there,
right? But the thing is, what could that do?
I understand that, but
so
people,
when you let me do the maths. You go to the grocery. Let me take a family of 3, a mother, father, 4. Mother, father, and 2 children. One child. Breakfast for a family of 3 in Trinidad and Tobago is more than $100.
Yes.
Right?
No, but
and that's eggs.
Say 100.
Right?
If it's 100, that's $2,000.
Right. That's
not
$2,000.
Counting weekends. That's $2,000.
That's just breakfast.
That's breakfast.
Right?
So if you're looking for $10,000, you down to 8 because you just eat 2.
Right. Let's say you have a car and you're paying a small mortgage at $3,000.
Do lunch and dinner.
Right. So lunch is
say
in excess. No, it can't be $100.
Say 100.
In excess of 150.
Don't let them come and tell you they can go out and eat tomato choker. So say $100 for lunch, $100 for dinner. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, $6,000.
$6,000. Let's say 2 of them working now. So you have $10,000. So $6,000 money going in food alone.
You ain't talking
Right?
bills.
So let me talk bills now. Cable, minimum 600.
Yeah, and that's internet
Right?
and everything right there.
That's internet and everything.
No, but say 300, and I'm telling you why. Always go for the lowest number. You see this Regulated Industries Commission thing, that having this talk with the people,
Yeah.
they didn't have to go through this country. I hear they say
Let
they
me do
come
the
back.
maths now, Philip.
All right.
Right, let me say
The
300.
lowest package is 300 with
Let me say electricity. Let me say 300 again. No, well, it will be 300 because let's buy
600 or
monthly.
2 months, 300.
So
300 a
150.
month. No, say 300 a month.
Okay, let's say 300 a month, right? So an next 1,000 going in your money, right? So we on to what? $7,000, right? So we go into transportation now.
Traveling.
Nah, well, it go to 10,000 already.
Well, then,
It doesn't go to 10,000
If
already.
you live in
Because,
Chaguanas and
what's
your
your
child
thing,
pass
right?
for Southeast Port of Spain Secondary, you have to get that child from Chaguanas today. You can't go and get transferred.
So you know what going on
right
now? You know what going on now? Transportation ticket. So here what?
We
The
will
rest
take
of
a
the
bus.
month. The rest of the
We will
month.
take a bus.
You-
When the bus coming?
Just now, the rest of the month, what you doing? Every month you juggling. You trying to see which bill you can leave back and have an arrears on for the next month.
Yeah.
And that's what people doing.
And then Carnival come,
Right?
and Easter come, and August holidays come, and Christmas come, and your children telling you why they're growing. My friends going in the water park. How come we can't go in
So
the
let me
water
say-
park?
You're
you have
rich.
fun-
let me say,
far,
let me
you're
say,
reach
let me
too
say, let me say,
far.
if you're going too far, you're going too far.
You're
Most
too
people,
far.
poor people don't think about them thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's a luxury.
Yeah.
Here what happening? Let me say you have a little old car, right? And you have to put gas and thing. But you decide to pull a little bull in the night or something. You get a couple tickets. You can't pay them tickets.
Yeah.
Right? Demerit point. Well, now you have to do inspection and thing. You can't go to the licensing office to do inspection because they're not taking you on if you had demerit points and you didn't pay. What's your problem? What's the situation?
Mr. Man, when they give a man
You know-
$5,000 fine because his car not roadworthy, and that is subjective and dependent on
And
the
I want to-
license of
and
that
I want to
person.
talk about that too.
That is 9 demerit points. You just, if that man requires that vehicle to move his family, listen, people have very
You know, people is talk about parties, but the party that put the most oppressive policies to govern this country, the people, the most taxes and everything, is the party in power, you know.
no, but you see the PNM
And, you know,
only
they
concerned
have-
about thieving. I'll tell you why.
I don't want to say,
I
I
tell you
don't
this-
want to be on a program where we say the only concern about thieving. Here what happened? Let me talk about
When
common
King
sense.
Christopher Rowley said to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I went to the Prime Minister in August 2003 and told him there was massive bid rigging taking place in Unicode, worse than the Piarco project. That's what he said. He bust that mark. Piarco project was $1 billion at that time. When he bust that mark, when he said 100% labor on Princess Building Ground is Chinese labor, what he doing in Westmoreland? What he doing in the 1% anti-flyover? You telling me I can't say PNM sole mission is to thief? You tell me today how you could justify $17 million to renovate a cottage that if you raise it to the ground in President's house, it worth $2 million. Worth $2 to build it back. You spend 17 to renovate it. What's going on the pavements on Arapita Avenue? That is Terence Dialse's wife company, Unicom. How they get that contract? The PNM, as a political party, sits with its financiers before they go into election and sell contracts. You give me a $5 million now. That's what they tell them. Give me a $5 million now if we get in, when we get in. Because they cut in the same deal with the UNC. What panicking the contract mafia is the Progressive Empowerment Party is going to impact the next election. We will win seats. If we go it alone, how much seats is left to be seen? You ask if we could translate it into votes. That is up to the voters. Our job is to be consistent in our message and to go outside there and fight for people. The work she's been doing for fire service officers alone, that work, no political party has ever done. The Progressive Empowerment Party has solved water and flooding in this country before getting into office. The people know if we put those two policies in place, all the flooding and all the no water done. They know. Police officers know. Anybody else? You ever hear another political party talk about the fact that police officers have no medical insurance? And then we find out soldiers don't have no medical insurance, prisons don't have no medical insurance, fire don't have no medical insurance. The most at-risk jobs in this society, where you can leave and come back home. I have a partner, he's a police officer, injured on the job. 4 months now, he ain't get paid. Who minding his family? These are people that you expect, a fire officer, you expect for them to put their lives at risk for you. You just tell me one of them commit suicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, difficult.
And they don't have.
Very difficult.
I think they would send them for counseling, but only when it gets bad. So if I suppose if I make a video talking about it, then they would send the whole Belmont team for it. But I was talking to a fireman this evening. He said that he went to a car accident, and the man head. He said the man head exploded in the vehicle.
Jesus.
That's how bad it was. And he said they never sent him for any kind of counseling.
Sati zoom on Lema. Continue.
And it's crazy. And when you look at every problem in the fire service, and I don't get it, because this is the service that actually wants to work. You could see it. They respond whether they know the house gonna burn to the ground or not. They will still go. So why it is they're not putting that effort in that?
Let me just add this. Fire officer told me that the self-contained breathing apparatus that they don't have is why we see our fire officers stand up outside, wetting a building from outside. You say you don't fight a fire, so
no, you don't.
you go into the building and you find the source of the fire and you're out that day.
Yeah.
Everything else is ancillary blaze. You know that? I learned that from them.
Yeah.
Right?
And none of the Bronto skylifts in Port of Spain working. So if we'd have a 2-story building in Port of Spain that's on fire, it'll burn to the ground, and they have to probably wait till it reaches the ground then to get at it. The fire in UE, and you hear members of the public coming out, oh, you ain't see what they're doing, you ain't see how they out in that, how they could do that, how they go get inside with that. But this is what the people have. Their chief refuses to do his job.
Which political party do you hear talking about that? Which political party do you hear exposing that the hundreds of millions of dollars spent every year on motor car for police is because they have hundreds of millions of dollars of cars rotting in the bush? They hide in them. You know, they play with me? They played hide and seek with me. I went and exposed hundreds of motorcycles on the highway by courts. They build a shed around it and hide them. They played hide and seek. We buy buses in this country. When you're driving down the road, look at the brand of the bus that you see in front of you. The different brands of buses we have is because when you buy a fleet of buses, the real money spending is the maintenance contract, the spare parts.
The man who go in and buy it getting money from that. He just in the
not
government.
only that,
He's the middleman. So you will go and buy that bus as Phillip Alexander, and you pay probably $800,000-900,000. The government will spend buy that same bus, and they'll pay $4 million for it. Because the middleman who sourcing the bus, he had to eat a food.
If we
and a whole set of...
If we investigate, they're fighting now among themselves. They're fighting among themselves, those who have contracts to bring in arms and ammunition. If you investigate arms and ammunition, the supplies of guns, you know that the type of gun, the type of magazine, the type of bullet is a racket in this country.
Yeah.
Then they switch out. They switch out depending on who is in charge. A partner tell me, he said, Phillip, he's dealing with the thieves in the government. He's dealing with them. He can tell me who wife and who mother fronting for ministers. He said, you know why we have 9 different design of lampposts in this country? Somebody write on Facebook, boy, one is TNTech, one is TSTT. I said, boy, both is Trinidad. Both is the same Minister of Public Utilities. Don't talk stupidness. When you're going to purchase something, the minister have to approve it. You have to get cabinet approval above a certain number. He said the reason we have 9 different design of lampposts in this country alone is lampposts is racket. You know, lock joint connections in Wassa is a racket.
Yeah, most of
that
them
what
rackets.
in the warehouse, what in the storehouse, if it in millimeters versus inches, it can work. And it's all of this going on that Trinidadians don't know. The Red House in Trinidad and Tobago cost $500 million to renovate.
And the gates still fall on the policeman.
And the roof's still leaking. You could build a Red House next to the Red House for $50 million. $50 million is a lot of money.
The
And that's the problem. That's the
it
problem. The problem is everybody jostling to see how they could get to eat our food, and they're
Leaving
forgetting
all
the
the
people.
citizens.
Our priorities,
You were
and
just
our
counting.
priorities
You
are
were
in the
just
wrong
counting.
place.
You were
Yeah?
just counting.
He ran out of
Our
salary.
average, you were
Yeah.
just counting our average person. I ask you again, which political party, which one goes to the lengths we go to stand for the working poor and the dying middle class? Which party?
Phillip,
Which?
Phillip, you can't compare yourself like that. The reason you have never been in office, right? And you had to compare yourself apples with apples and oranges with oranges. So a lot of people say, well, you talking a lot, you're talking, you could do this, but when you get in office, what you do? You mightn't do that. You mightn't be able to do it. 1, 2, you mightn't win with the kind of numbers you need to change the system. And 3, you might win and then you might start doing the same thing that everybody is doing. That is what the public will say. Allow me to finish.
Yeah, but you can't say those things and then move on. Eh?
No,
you have to stay on those points.
I'm saying,
because I have to answer.
I'm saying this is what the people will be saying. These are the questions, reasonable questions people will be asking. How it is a party have been in office for so much years, 50 plus years, 2 parties, and the same thing happening over and over and over.
What was 2?
Right?
3 is we do what they're doing. 1 is blocks from doing.
So here what? What will make you do what you say you do? If you get in office. Just allow me to finish. Now, not just if you get in office. The first thing you have to get in office, you have to get in office with the right majority to be able to make those changes. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, if you do get in office with that kind of majority to make those changes, will you do it? Do you have the belly to do that? Because you will upset some people. You'll upset some of the people who making a lot of money from the system right now.
Could I answer you?
Yes, go ahead and answer.
The people I fight, I tell people, when people talk about 1%, when people on the church talking 1%, that's hyperbole. That is disconnect. That is hearsay. When I talk, I'm talking about auntie and uncle. When I talk, it costs me getting invited to christening and wedding and funeral. When I talk, I walk in places that I used to be a king in, certain restaurants, certain places where I used to go for breakfast and watch the eyes and hear the shoo, Phillip Rich. As watch people's offspring who know that I am going at what is my family, and they know that and they're angry with me because they believe that they're entitled to that lifestyle. That's what the mother and the father tell them. That if they didn't do it, somebody else would. You say 3 things. 1, block us from doing it. Brother, I'm telling you, I'm not bulletproof. So all the people who pray for me and pray for my safety, keep praying for me and keep praying for my safety. But unless they kill me, they can't stop me. I'm going to fix it. I'm surrounded by lions. We're going in there and fix it. We have a plan to fix the judiciary and the justice system and the laws, that the Summary Offences Act and the indictable offences. We have a plan for everything, and we have the right people who have the right belly to do it. We're going to fix it. We're serious about that. And we can debate for hours. I wish God, if God grant me one good wish right now, it would be me, Kamala, Keith. Let us debate till the people vote. Just ask question after question. The only thing I say is all of us must have the exact same amount of time and all of us must answer the same questions. You say, so block us from doing it. Nobody blocking us from doing it. The power of the state is incredible. I have spoken to people, international law enforcement, who are willing to come here and secure this nation. I am telling you, countries as far as Japan want to send warships. The United States of America in 2017, I told the government, the United States of America would send warships. We didn't have to buy OPVs. America would give it.
At a cost.
Brother, no,
at a cost of independence.
Listen, no, it's not your independence. When we don't stop the drugs flowing through Trinidad to America, it gives the Americans a cost to clean up those drugs. If it is simpler to stop the drugs coming through Trinidad from Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, and Venezuela, they prefer to do that. Trinidad is a conduit. If you could turn off the conduit You save yourself chasing drugs and gangs in New York City, in Harlem, in the Bronx, in Queens, in Chicago. The Americans know that. And I'm telling you, a debate is not just people flinging words at each other. I could bring facts, and beyond facts, I could bring people who are in things like the police service in the United States of America, Internal Affairs Bureau, and tell you how quickly they could clean up Trinidad and Tobago police service. And you have to let me answer, yeah? You said we get blocked from doing, we ain't getting blocked from doing. You said two, majority versus special majority. That is an important point. The way our constitution is written, there are some things that we want to fix that require a special majority. If we don't get a special majority, we can't fix the country. As Prime Minister, I may probably have to go to the people and say, we're going to have to go back to the polls. And you all have to be serious. And I prefer to give up government than waste another 5 years of your life.
So you fought a whole election to win the election and then just give it up because you can't get what you want. That's what I say.
It's not what I want. We there for a purpose. If we can't do what we say we're going to do, I don't want to go.
But you know already, you already know before you're going in with your eyes open. You know already if you're going without this special majority, you just may not be able to do all the things they're saying you will do when you're outside. So I'm asking you, what is your solution to fix that?
I am saying to you that the people of Trinidad and Tobago need to understand that they have a responsibility. And if we're willing to give up government, rather than waste 5 more years. You see, we don't want to go in there and just argue with Anil and Jack Warner and all these people. We want to fix the country. That's what we want to do. We want 5 years. We want to show people all this talk.
So how you know they will want you to fix the country? Because if you fix the country, they will be obsolete. So how you know?
Who's they?
The opposition, who more than likely will win seats too, and will make you not having a special majority.
But I'm saying to you, and I'm saying to Trinidad again, ultimately, who gets the votes is determined by the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, so we boil back down to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the voters.
Our message, the work she does. You don't think, and I'm gonna point her out.
But I don't know if you
don't
understand.
Think she alienates people.
Listen,
who don't want her to speak like that?
Yeah, but I don't know if you understand where I'm going. Where I'm going is, and I've been saying this time and time, even on the Rum Shop Talk. The thing is, votes win elections. You talking, now when I win an election just so, votes win election. You have to find a way to titillate the imagination of the people who will vote.
That's what we do
now. Just now. And I don't think you're doing it holistically, because a lot of people feel alienated by your positioning sometimes, and sometimes I'm thinking
you use some descriptions that need challenging every time. You cannot say a lot of people, because that needs quantifying.
Well,
I want to tell you something, Stephen, and I want to say this clear. It costs me time, money, and mental well-being to be in politics. There's nothing in politics for me but a better country for my family. For my
I know that. I feel it in here. But
there's there's nothing there that I chase it. I'm not Anil, I'm not Simon the Nobrega. I'm not looking for a good time. I'm not looking for new girls.
I know that. I'm
telling you, I don't need no extra money. I need nothing from it.
I know that.
I just
Phillip, I know you.
Good.
But everybody don't know you like I know you.
And bro, I'm telling you, this today, this work today, this show, and all these shows that we do and all the work that we do, tens of thousands of hours of live videos because they block us on the media, is to get to the people. Stephen, I'm not saying that I want to walk away, but I could. You know what people tell me, call me. The other night I did a video that hinted that, look, we're not sure if this making any sense. A woman named Mrs. Lajan, she called me, she said, Phillip, you don't know me. My home, my street, my village, my community waiting for a chance to vote for y'all. She break down and cry on the phone. She said, you, the Progressive Empowerment Party, is the only hope for Trinidad and Tobago right now. I am not saying that narcissistically or arrogantly. When you tell me the work that we have to do, we know. We've been doing this. We've been having public meetings when it wasn't fashionable to be Progressive Empowerment Party. We were having meetings when 4 people and 5 people come and we were doing the work. We were there every single Saturday. We were the only people. When we walked for women. When we walked for women every year to protect women, Andrea Barrett, Shannon Banfield was still alive. Asami was still alive. Ashanti Riley was still alive.
Yeah.
We've been fighting. We fought for the divers. If it wasn't for us, the divers, nobody would know their names. All these other politicians stunting, riding these people.
By the way, what come out of that commission of inquiry?
That's still after complete. The last thing you said is, how do you know that we won't do what they're doing? I can only speak for me, but I want to tell you, I have been strong in the face of threats to my life. I have been strong in the face of inducements. I have had people, you are not the only well-connected political advisor that we know. I have had people for years come and sit down and say, listen, I connected with the Balize, I connected with the Rising Sun. We could organize you. We could take care of you. You could get 10 million.
So Kiesel come to you then?
You could end up as the ambassador to Washington. Your life could be nice. You know the kind of inducements we get? You know the kind of people they send? I sit down with ministers' crews to listen what they're saying. Trinidad and Tobago is a place where the contract mafia, make no mistake, is not a little thing and it's not a stone they pelting, you know. The $30 billion that gets stolen out of our $60 billion budget every year is going to people. There are people in this country, places in this country that when you look at it, when you look at what's going on in Trinidad now, when you look at how I compare Laventille Hill to Goodwood Park Hill, I compare Beetham to Bayshore. When people tell me, a man come on the post the other day, and this is the conundrum of being me, it's not the PNM to blame, it's all them Syrian. People like Phillip, get Phillip and them out of the country. As if anybody who getting any contract in this country doing it without the government of the day. We have zero interest in doing this to feather our nest. If we did, this fight would have been over a long time. My party, my people, who I have around me, more powerful than anybody Kamala have around them. And we could have given them all of that and take a piece of money and take a position and ride in high. You don't think PNM want to pay us money and silence us? It's cheaper to buy out the competitor in the bread fight or the bear fight. It's cheaper to buy them out and pay them off and let them go. Because you got thief back that money. That's Trinidad. When you sat down there and you counted the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago, food for breakfast shouldn't be $100. And my partner's name is Pancho Ross. Pancho Ross, I don't want to use Pep Farms as a proof of concept. Pancho Ross, he have his own farm and he was telling me, he said he have a little over an acre and he have ducks and he have chickens and these are people who involved in industry in Trinidad, you know, but he have his farm as his proof of concept and he doing melangen and bodi and okra. Trinidad could be food self-sufficient. We could be growing. An example is breadfruit. One breadfruit tree could feed 4 people every day for 75 years. So you telling me we never had a government with sense enough to plant 100,000 breadfruit trees? So the price of a breadfruit will drop to $1. We eat rice and flour in Trinidad because we were taught to eat rice and flour. Rice don't grow here, flour. I mean, we don't have a rice thing here that could feed all our people. Flour don't grow here. Wheat don't grow here. We were taught we can't teach ourselves to eat cassava and dasheen and eddos and breadfruit. That's better for you. All of this I'm telling you. Our fruits that grow here, pomerac, more fiber than 10 apple, 1 pomerac. Guava, more vitamin C than 10 oranges. Grow in Trinidad wild. Why we not is because the contract mafia paying the PNM and the UNC to not grow food. So that's why poor people can't afford to eat in Trinidad and Tobago. Just that. The price of a car in Trinidad is ridiculous. You could import cars to Trinidad, right-hand drive from India. If we switch to left-hand drive, we could import cars from the whole world. That's the easiest thing to do. And we could import cars where the average person could get a car, a small car, 1.3 liter. So you move in here, there, and everywhere, get your business done. And you could get a car like that for 10,000 Trinidad and Tobago dollars. We know that you could fix this country, a house a starter home of 1,000 square feet at these inflated monopolistic prices still is not $50,000. And if you open up the market and challenge the monopolies in blocks and bricks and cement, you could reduce the price further. Look at the price of cement, how it went up after they closed down. What's this, people? Rock hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
all I see, those are the unfortunate stories of Trinidad and Tobago.
And if we had reliable
And the thing is,
transportation and
for some reason,
everything.
the people who run in this country, they doesn't seem to be able to internalize and understand.
Because they do
The
not live
media.
our reality. None
Exactly.
of them does travel. None of them know where to go in the supermarket and add up anything. I don't.
None of them
I
getting
can't
tickets
tell
on the
you.
road.
I can't tell you when I see any one of them in the supermarket for that place shopping for themselves. They probably have a maid who's do that.
Yeah. But even if they don't have a maid, for some reason they can't even come to terms with the reality of the man on the street, how the man on the street surviving, how he getting by.
Yeah.
How you getting by with $6,000 a month? How you living? You know, how you reaching to the end of the month and living a normal, safe life?
Majority of your public servants live central and deep south.
Everything, including government service, is either very difficult to access or very expensive.
Or the work.
And by the way, you're getting cut if you get paid. You had to go and doctor electricity, thief from the post, all kind of thing you had to do to survive.
How many people you think that have access to government, have access to foreign exchange outside of the banking system? Just that.
The banking system by itself is a mafia. And it's run by the government, by the way.
But if you in a business and you're running a business and you can't get foreign exchange to put inventory on the shelves, they drive you out of business. Your competitors, they're not fighting.
That's not what they do, Flavor Right?
But that's what they do.
Flavor Right couldn't get the US to buy this material.
But they have other people could come back and open up ice cream company and do it because they could get foreign exchange. And I am saying to Trinidad and Tobago, all we want is a level playing field. We want hope and opportunity for everybody. We want an education system where it doesn't matter if you come from Toko or Beetham or Bayshore, you get the same chance at a proper education. So those who prepare to do the work will reap the rewards.
But you know something? It's so amazing that if election is called today, all them people were suffering. I think it was, I can't remember who said it, it was a great philosopher once said that if you take a chicken and you pluck out all the feathers.
Joseph Stalin.
Stalin, right. If you pluck out all the feathers from that chicken and you let it go, it's bleeding, it's suffering. The moment you throw corn for that, it coming and you the best master in the world.
Sure.
The thing is, that is how
I'll show you how critical
people.
Thinking, let me show you how critical thinking works. People hear a story and they think that the story have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that's it. That's how critical thinking works. Now, you can rip out all the feathers on that chicken and then throw corn fed and it'll come and eat your corn when it's hungry. But I could throw corn too. And if I dare and I throw corn fed and I never rip a single feather from it, it'll eat my corn first. Because that animal is intelligent and it's sentient and it's conscious.
Yeah, but not
And I'm just saying that-
PNM supporters.
But you can't say that.
No,
If
I
the
mean,
PNM
they will
people-
run and support. Listen, I mean...
Stephen, without race
listen.
voting, PNM dead. Because PNM people know PNM don't like people. Not just black people. PNM don't like people. You cannot have run this country with $3 trillion. And
So,
do what you
so you're correct. What they do to a large extent is in a kind of subliminal way. They bring out that race. So they create situation. They would watch the ad the UNC put and they would make some racial thing about it and make you fear the UNC or make you fear the East Indian and separate you because they are about divide and rule. If they can divide you and make you feel that everybody else is against you, they will come. It's the same thing with the fowl, with the chicken.
One of my videos that went most viral in all of my videos. One of my videos did millions. That was the US foreign currency video, the first video. But I did a video the other day when they were playing the race thing because I was up in the airport. And I said, let me show you all how stupid you all are. Sushila, and Camille. Let me show Trinidad and Tobago. You think the argument is Sushila and Camille? Look where Starbucks is, in the center of the airport. Nothing local wrong it. No, you can't get rock cake, you can't get tulum, you can't get sugar cake, you can't get doubles, you can't get a shark and bake. Starbucks. And look how far I have to walk, and I walk to where the food court is for the locals, and I show them the condition of the ceiling and the condition of the floor and the flooding and how it closed, and if rain fall you're getting wet, and people tell me, brother, from the day after, them inside there fixing flood, them cleaning ceiling, them putting cover, because Trinidadians and Tobagonians have taken the Sushila Camille argument as the end all be all. These two people rip out my feathers and throw in corn for me. The Progressive Empowerment Party have a better quality of corn. We ain't hurting nobody. We come in with a vision for a better Trinidad and Tobago, where they are red, white, black, green, and any shade in between. And none of us doing this for ourselves. Look at our chairman, Felicia. She frustrated, she tired. You know how hard this is? You know how hard this job is? To stand and fight for people. You can imagine you're a lifeguard. When they're training you to be a lifeguard, you know what the skills they teach is how to knock out somebody? Because you could go to rescue somebody with water, and they try to drown you. Fighting up, they try to drown you. You ought to knock them out.
Especially as our lifeguards don't have the tools anymore.
I was on Tyrico Bay this weekend going here, and I watched one lifeguard on a jet ski. One man.
Oh, they got jet skis?
But just him. And I don't know where he get the jet ski from.
I showed you a video today. Lifeguards from Maracas left to go rescue people in Tyrico.
This Sunday when I was there, this one man on this jet ski, but I think he saved 10 lives. And people getting themselves in danger. If 10 people drown in Trinidad, 9 is drowned in Tyrico, you know.
Tyrico is one of the most dangerous
Tyrico and Blanchishes is the two.
Our two friends in about a 20-year period died in Tyrico.
Yeah, because Tyrico has rip currents. But it's again the lack of ignorance from Trinidadians not taking on lifeguards, and I have a serious problem with that. We don't teach our people to listen to lifeguards. Lifeguards are your savior on the beach. Who are you going to call? Police? You will want a lifeguard. If you're drunk, is a lifeguard you're going to want. So why not treat the people with respect?
And that's why that man who fight with the lifeguard, after the lifeguard pull him out of the water, he should have jailed that man. Because the lifeguard job, he's the absolute authority on the beach. His job is to save your life, whether you drunk and stupid or not. But our lifeguards, as she said, don't have. Go Tyrico, they have nothing. Go Maracas, everything they had built for them, falling apart.
Everything they had before, the kayaks, the paddle boards, all those things. I don't know what happened. They said it
comes back to priorities again. Something wrong, but I mean, I had to agree with you when you say maybe all those big mega projects like the walkover from Victoria Keys to the flyover from Victoria Keys to Westmoreland, all them things, those things are pie in the sky. Those things are vanity projects to me. When you have little things that can help the people,
and
that
the most people want is just
you
to be
raising,
content.
My pet peeve in this country is that road traffic system where they fleece a lot of money from people, right? In a kind of evil, kind of predatory system. Right? And put a system where you have to pay to continue driving. And really, what you should be paying for is road. If you telling me that I have to go and get my car inspected, and when I get my car inspected, I pay whatever I pay for it to get it inspected, and my car is over 5 years, I get inspected, right? And you are telling me that when I get that car inspected, I get a sticker for 2 years, but 2 days after I could drive down on that piece of bad road, I actually saw an accident because of a pothole 2 weeks ago on a hill in Chumakak. So you are saying that 2 weeks after I get that sticker, my car in the same position it is, because I pull in bull and I run over them pothole every day, and I now could drive on the same road that you say I couldn't drive on because I didn't have the inspection for the next 2 years. with that same old car because I have a sticker. Does that make any sense?
And I know that the vehicle system is
Fix the roads.
is a pet peeve for you. I want to tell you something. You trying to tell me we don't have one law firm in this country that make enough money? That I watch a senior counsel today, and I know the kind of millions he get from government. And he sit down in a doctor's office, and I'm watching him and I'm thinking, y'all don't realize that it ends, that the opportunity you have to maximize your potential to the benefit of the country, so your name will live on and that your family will have a better life because you exist, it runs out like sand in an hourglass. You just said that you watch somebody who can't have a sticker but the car getting damaged by the road. You try to tell me they don't have a one law firm in this country that can advertise. If your relative drowned on the beach because there wasn't adequate lifeguard coverage, come to us. If your car get damaged in an accident because of pothole,
You can't advertise like
no, but I'm saying to you, advertise it.
But in the States, you have that JJ,
No, that is in the States. Our system, our legal system.
Our system is not like that because we do not stand up.
Yeah, we don't challenge a lot of things, and that's our problem.
That is the problem, Stephen. If 100,000 people come to visit the Red House tomorrow with flowers, Rowley will piss his pants. Kamala will go mad. She wouldn't know what to do. If the people start standing up for themselves and say, hold your race talk, I want a better country, I don't care who. I don't care. I remember when Robin Williams was doing a show about politics, and he's talking about Bill Clinton, who at the time was the president of the United States, who was under serious attack for Paula Jones, Jennifer Flowers, and Monica Lewinsky. And at that time, there was a rumor that Monica Lewinsky had certain DNA on her dress. And Robin Williams said, I don't care if he's screwing chickens, as long as he's doing the job. And the crowd stood up and applauded. You see, we get caught up in the thick of thin things. I don't care about Duke and the Blue Drawers.
We major in minors.
Yeah.
We major in minors instead of majoring in major. We major in minor and trying to make with priorities. Priorities just fix up.
The other day, I said more people have an opinion on Fair and Lions getting a credit for hard fet. For road march. You realize how much people was in that conversation than talking about the price of food. They have 400, 500,000 housewives.
No, in my opinion is that Watson, Duke, and the lady, to me, they both belong to an asylum, in my opinion. But I can't understand how that was able to.
Why would you say that?
Because I mean,
I just find that was not supposed to be in the public.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
But that's the point.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the point.
But that's just my opinion. I think both of them are.
No, but
right?
you see,
I think both of them. That's my opinion. Right? But that doesn't occupy my day and my thought all the time, because to me,
who use their foot and who use their elbow, I laugh. But I say to you, honestly, I don't care about your sexual depravity.
I neither, because I don't want nobody to care about mine.
Exactly so. Exactly
I don't care.
And it had no business in the public space. But Trinidadians board, the attention that Watson Duke got there should have been 500,000 housewives. Shut this country down. No work, no food, no sex. You can imagine if the housewives in this country form an association and say no work, no food, no sex, the country will fall down.
The problem with that, exactly, and that's the attitude.
That's not going to affect me.
A lot of people, well, that don't affect me, so that's why I can buy it still.
That will affect you.
No.
You go to the court, and you're supposed to have a matter before the court today. The lawyer not here, the judge not here, because they're home stressed. They're home stressed. So it may not affect you directly, but it will affect you indirectly.
Okay.
Society will grind to a halt, and I use that as an example. The average person in Trinidad and Tobago, school children, have rights. Trinidad and Tobago is a signatory to the United Nations Rights of a Child. You know that?
Yeah, I do know that.
Chief among those rights is a right to proper education. Education is salvation. Food, shelter, education. proper education. I tell people the other day, we spend $500,000 per classroom per year.
Wow.
In Trinidad.
You sure about that?
Why, Stephen? We spend 5,000 million.
That's
on
from the
our
Ministry
education.
of Education. But when you actually trickle it down to the school, because if you go in some of these schools, you'd see the blackboard termite ridden, the benches uncomfortable.
I used to operate in some schools in Port of Spain. I don't know if they're like that still. But
some
they
of the
were
bathrooms in my daughter's
atrocious.
school and
And at that time, they were spending more money on education. All of that to me is a corruption.
You telling these schools, these prestige schools, you telling these children, they putting these children to work in these fets now. You teaching these children that drunken romping, and are saying that that's what our culture has become, a drunken romp. Our culture is not culture. And if you're liking yourself again and not approved, do your thing, but don't have the children from the school working in the fet and saying this is to run the school. Where is the $5 billion? Let us get an accounting. Where is that accounting? Colm Imbert cannot stand up in a parliament anywhere else in the world and spend $5 billion on education this year without accounting for the $5 billion he spent last year. And you have to know, but we've let so much slide that the average person just abdicated. Somebody say, people don't speak out because they're tired and they don't think they'll be here. I say, all that is a cop-out. I supposed to feel the same way. I'm not special. When I raise my voice, it makes a difference. People supposed to see that. When she raised her voice, it makes a difference. People supposed to see that and say, you know what? If they could do it, I could do it. George Harrison, I read today, he got 12 Emmys. 12 Emmys. He said, one day I said to myself, I am not John Lennon and I am not Paul McCartney, but if they could write music, I could write music too. And he get 12 Emmys. And I just use that as an off-the-cuff example for Trinidadians to understand that the average person in this country has more power than they know, than they understand. I tell people, just your labor and your consumption holds up this entire economy. If everybody in Trinidad and Tobago today say they're not sucking Diana Dinamint anymore, how long do you think Diana Dinamint will stay in business?
If all your public servants decide, well, I live in Rio Claro, Tabaquí, South, and we're not coming up to Port of Spain this morning, all your government offices will shut down.
PSA. Why PSA doesn't engage a law firm to sue the state? There is precedent in the Commonwealth. In Germany, the state said you're right. From a lawsuit, the state said you're right. That the time spent on the way to work is work. I told our janitor who comes to this building today, because that time she gets here and they have nobody to open the place for her, I said, let me tell you something. If you get here at 8 o'clock and nobody's here and you don't come till 10, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, you're being paid. Sit down and relax, read a book. You're still getting paid. But I believe and I agree that the commute to work is
and
not...
back from work.
Yeah.
That's part of the job.
That's like 4 hours that most people do.
But that's part of the job. And if all of a sudden the state had to be paying for those hours, you will see how quick we move all of the government buildings from Port of Spain to the center of the island so that everybody will spend 3 and 4 hours in traffic.
But you see, that's an interesting point to make there, because I say all the time as a professional, and I'm going to put on my expert hat, professional hat now. One of the things we don't pay attention to, and that is the government, is productivity in this country. We seem not to understand how to measure it. So we have a problem paying more and not understanding, even at the stage of the negotiation, collective bargaining and collective agreements, we don't understand how productivity, and I'm talking the unions and the government, don't understand how productivity factors into all of that. So they're just looking at the money that the union is asking for and how they're asking for. And the union, on the other hand, is not looking on the other side to see how the labor or the time that is put out by the worker is measured, and how it factors into what you could get. So if you don't work, you can't get paid. Right? In real countries, if you don't work, you can't get paid. Because your work, your productivity is a percentage, your pay is a percentage of what you would have put out in productivity. And the thing is, just to come back to your point, if you are spending 4 hours on the road to commute back and forth, that's loss of productivity gone.
Whose time is that? It can't be yours. It can't be the person's own. It has to belong to the company.
Right, it has to belong to the company. But the thing is the loss of productivity. It might be better to spend that money to fix the roads or to fix the transportation system and save that money in productivity.
Decentralize.
Right? So
decentralize.
A lot of our things could be online too.
But the pandemic taught us that.
Right? So I thought, and I'm coming back to my pet peeve, I thought that when you have all these huge amount of revenue earned from all these traffic offences, you would have take that money and put it back into the road.
So where's the money
not
going?
To be doing that because the road in the same state.
I'm going to tell them something that they don't even know as yet. That besides the time of the people in the car, there is a value to the gas and the wear and tear on the vehicles that brings 250,000 people to Port of Spain and take them back.
Exactly.
There's a value to the carbon footprint, to the United Nations carbon credits. That is a valuable thing. If you could take that whole commute and break it down and turn it 10%, they will pay you money. This country loses. When I am the person who designed the bypass, 4 roads. Trinidadians, people who live in the West used to line up from movie town and spend 4 hours in traffic. Now they get home in 15 minutes. That is billions of dollars in man hours saved and time for people to spend with their family.
You should be getting some
I was supposed to get some money and get nothing. I'm getting biscuit tin. Thank God Jack Warner was the minister of works at the time. Jack said, let me do it. Let me do it, and it was done. Suraj Rambachan get to finish it. And if you know that beast, you can't get no biscuit tin from him, but that biscuit share he taking all home.
He probably take some money from that.
But the two of you all deal in the public service. Y'all are the people to raise these issues. The quality of life that the workers, it's easy for private citizens to lambaste people in the public service. But I went to General Hospital when an uncle of mine was there. And I dealing with the nurses and the people because they see me. And the nurse say, look, before you put me on blast, let me show you. And they take me on a tour of what really is casualty and what they put up with. You must step into what is the records room in the General Hospital.
You smell it when they open it.
The beat-em dump is more organized than the and I'm not being ridiculous. In the records room, it's like you open the door and fling a file. That's the filing system. Yeah, you never going back for that file. They just saving paper.
So that's why it takes so long for you to get the records of your loved one when something happens.
Brother, it's not worth it to them. They stall you forever till you get frustrated. What those people, I said to her, I said, if this was the only job I could get, I would kill myself. To work in the General Hospital. That is Trinidad's national hospital. It is an indictment against every government we've ever had that workers work under those conditions, that patients live under those conditions, that drivers drive on roads under these conditions, that people go to the beach and put their lives at risk just for entertainment because the country fails.
But you know something?
And Terrence,
you know something?
we have the best healthcare.
You know something? Election coming up just now. Just now they're going to answer that fixed road like mad ants, you know. Yeah, just no roads going outside again fix like mad
50% or something,
right? You know, because election just now.
Bernard can't fix. We get one of our shadow MPs, Marissa from Orapuch, sent a video of a bridge collapsing, and a partner from National Security screenshot and zoom in. He said, "You're not realizing something, Phillip. The foundation of this road is wood, planks of wood. When the road and this foundation fall away." What it exposed is planks of wood, 2x4s stuck on each other that they put gravel on and pave.
That's where.
In our approach. She was talking just now about why we pick people who are grassroots from the community. The average person, I remember when the UNC was in office, so people don't just say a lash in the PNM. When the UNC was in office, the member of parliament for Chaguanas East was Stephen Cadiz. And on our morning show, he was speaking about his MP for Diego Martin Northeast. Because even though he's the member of parliament for Chaguanas East, he living in Fairways.
David Lee lives Cascade, but he is Point-a-Pierre.
But the people in Barrackpore, when I went Barrackpore, Rodney Charles sent out a message on WhatsApp and they cuss him. They say, you sending message? Mr. Alexander is in Barrackpore, where you? All the things I went on that video and highlight, all of it fixed because the Ministry of Works and the workers in the ministries, what she just said, the fire officers in this country, you could put your neck on a block for them. The fire officers in this country should collectively sue the state for their working conditions.
Yeah.
Police officers need a good lawyer. That 4%.
And a good union too.
But I want to sue the union and I want to sue the state for the police. Police need better working conditions. The mental well-being, you know, judges get something called judicial contact. They get a lump sum of money every couple of years and 9 months and 12 months off. Go and travel the world to get your mind clear.
Papa, you?
That's what they get. Police officers should be getting a break. In Trinidad, like how teachers just get 2 months off for summer, give police that every year. Because they need a break.
And teachers don't get that full 2 months, eh? They just go on workshops and then 2 weeks before school open, they have to go back out to school to start preparing. So it's not even the full 2 months teachers
Because
get.
our curriculum is not a national curriculum. And when I found that out, I said, but this is madness. How could you have the children in Tabakit learning something different to the children in Taruba, to the children in Toko, to the children in
I did a
Woodbrook?
post on that with different books. We don't have the same books for schools. These books my son using are completely different to what the girls and the same Roman Catholic, same area school.
So how does that make sense? How do you tell me that all these children going towards the same exam,
That's why
but
I
they're using
said,
different books?
that's why I was saying
That's
there
setting
is
them up to fail.
is an advantage for some, but who is the advantage for?
But you're setting them up to fail. You're making Trinidad have 50,000 security guards. You're making security guards.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Another thing about the system.
When you speak, you have to understand people like you who are independent of the political sphere. You have to understand you too have a voice. You have to understand that you too, and I just say it, I'm not saying support PEP, I'm saying support people. Support policies that will make people's lives better. Anthony Saloom now sent me a message. I want you to hear this. This is just an example of the insanity of this country, right? Anthony Saloom is one of those angels who outside there fighting for people who don't look like him, who will never be able to fully thank him for what he's done for them, who may not even know. And I just want you to hear this, right? So Senator Lyder lambasts the PNM in Parliament for the state and the city of Port of Spain with regards to vagrancy. And how does the city respond? They send to their trucks and heavy machinery accompanied by police and clears all the mattresses and belongings of those outside Riverside located on the pavement. The only thing they fail to deal with is the vulnerable people who they continue to look upon as garbage. There are 3 reasons people end up homeless that we are aware of. Substance abuse, mental illness, and they just failed at life. Those 3 things.
Or they're just homeless.
Well, that's it, they failed at life.
Okay.
Life, they didn't make it. Because there is a certain amount, for you to be rich, they have to have a certain amount of people poor for you to be rich.
Well, not really
Well,
the
not
life
really.
decisions only too, you know.
I'm
Because
not saying it's their life
I was
decision.
watching
I just
a
say they
video
failed at
Not
life.
really.
recently,
In
and
socialist
a chef
systems,
got
they
laid
don't work
off.
like that.
Yeah, he got laid off during COVID, so now he lost his apartment. So
Correct.
he's in a shelter.
If you want me to phrase it differently, life beat them. They didn't win the game of life.
Yeah, and we don't have a social development ministry that actually does what it's supposed to do.
So we are a hybrid of capitalist and something else.
This is a kleptocracy.
Right?
This is not,
Kleptocracy.
this
yeah.
is not
Yeah,
capitalism.
yeah.
This is not capitalism. If you and your business cannot get foreign exchange to put goods on your shelf, but your competitor could, that's not capitalism.
Yeah.
Capitalism is a level play field. United States of America is a capitalist society. When Wilkinson Sword was trying to buy Gillette, the United States Attorney General, that Treasury Department had to intervene and say, you can't do that, because from the moment you get a monopoly, people lose value, they lose price, they lose quality.
Competition,
Which is
competition, competition there. Competition there.
Pharmaceutical board.
Right, yeah. You're very correct, you know. You're very correct. That is exactly it. And those are the things, for some reason, if you look at the banking system in Trinidad and Tobago, it's really a kleptocracy, because the government could do the same thing, could have the same oversight on the banking system through the central bank, but they don't. So all of them operate like a monopoly, and they wage havoc on the people are trying to
That is
go.
the largest gang in Trinidad.
Right?
The
So
banks.
the
banks
banking
are the
system is
largest gang
really
in Trinidad.
is
And I
a
tell you
cruel
what,
system in
the
Trinidad and Tobago.
government was supposed to rein in the banks years ago. Time magazine wrote about our banks.
Yeah,
They
I
called it
remember that.
Predators in Paradise. That's what they referred to them as, and that's when they were still decent.
Yeah.
Now, people messaging me, Mr. Alexander, what am I going to do? I ask them for 2 years statement and they charge me $600.
Yeah,
You say, I can't
honest.
get the statement online. You tell me I'm banking online, but I can't get the statement online. I have to pay.
Yeah, craziness.
It
This
is
system,
designed to rob
this
you.
Christmas,
Yeah.
this system is just really predatory.
And your prime minister tell those people that when the banks make money, the people will make money.
Yeah,
This
craziness.
trickle-down economics nonsense
Nonsense.
benefits nobody.
But it
Tax
doesn't
and
work.
Reagan.
Doesn't
Trickle down to where I don't see no interest in my accounts.
They literally saying they go in and eat, and wherever fall out them out on the ground, you could have. That's literally what
Yeah.
trickle-down economics.
But that's PNM system though.
Yes, it is.
That's PNM system. I'm telling you, that's how they operate from Balizi House right down. Right? Right down.
Stephen, we
The
have
little-
a
the little
chance.
people,
we have a
they don't
chance.
really care about you. They don't even care about their people.
And that's what I told you. I said it just
The
now.
people who fight
PNM
and
don't
walk
like
and
people.
trample and fight and do all kind of thing for them to win elections, they forget them as soon as the bell ring and they win elections.
And I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago, I love you very, very much for rejecting Carnival 2023. The majority of people who played mass and was in those fetes was foreigners and rich people. But the average Trinidadian say, you know what, I ain't have no time and money with this.
You could just
That
take
is-
a walk on the avenue.
They didn't even do that. Everything bust. That's why they're talking. You see, they can't hide it anymore. All the stands, all the tents across the road from our office, they spend millions of dollars renting tents that
Tents.
nobody used.
The 10 people make money though.
10 people
Yeah.
make money. That's where the 147 million was. This was the mother of all thieving for Carnival. That's what it was. And if you did if you were operating this country where law enforcement was actually enforcing proper law, plenty people would make a jail. And I want to thank Trinidadians for at least showing how awoke they are. All these failing media houses trying to spin the narrative, what we could do to improve the carnival. It have nothing to do with the carnival. People catching their ass. They have no time with bread and circuses now when they don't know how their child eating in school. They're relying on a school feeding program that go in and buy stupidness from Kiss and handing your child.
No, well,
cornbread.
you can't blame the kitchens. I represent some of these people, some of them have matters in the court and thing, and I represent them. And listen, when I was told what the government pay as a kitchen, a school feeding kitchen to provide a meal, they pay like about $4 and $3 and $7 and thing for lunch. You know?
Who accepted it?
Right?
Per child?
accepted it?
Per child?
Per child.
Who
Oh, you
No,
say get
per meal.
Who accepted?
So what will you buy for that? We just talk about how much it costs to feed a family a tree, a decent breakfast.
If you accept that as a term and a condition of your employment, it is you to blame. Yes or no?
It's just
If you are not
amazing.
intelligent enough to know that you cannot provide a lunch for $7, would you take the job? And the answer is no.
Yeah, but then it have another side to that.
Exactly.
If you needy money, the
And that other people
contractor
take it.
have to
How do
pay.
you benefit?
Yeah.
It have other people
So you
take
will
it and do
literally-
exactly what you
will
just
say-
said.
You will literally say that you need the money, so you'll take food on the children.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the next man will take it, and he will do exactly what he doing, and nobody will say anything. The
But
government they care about
but
that.
the
They care about they saying that they're
the
paying school feeding, like
The
school feeding
Central
program
Marketing
XYZ.
Agency of Trinidad and Tobago know that there are 200,000 children in the school system. If 50% of them want food,
Food went up. Listen, food inflation
Sir.
went up by about 100%.
Sir, I just want to
but they didn't raise them
Sir,
money.
I just want to make a point. If you tell me that there are 200,000 children in the school, because that's how much children there are in the school, 10 years by 20,000 children who do SEA. So that's how we measure 200,000 children in the school system. And 50% of them want school feeding lunches. You are now budgeting to feed 100,000 people. Come on, this is not rocket science. We're doing this all over the world. You have 100,000 people, so you could go to small farmers. Same way you talk about the planting. You could plan your menu. The nutritionist, Ministry of Health. See how everything coming together?
This one I'm
You could even
saying,
go a
we
step further, Phillip.
somehow,
Let her make a point.
You could even go a step further. If you introduce agriculture in schools and have these children grow things.
Absolutely.
You could get it. I made a
don't
video
take-
of that.
Listen, it's a
Why
man here.
Queen's Park Savannah don't have one fruit tree?
Somehow,
Why the Horticultural Society of Trinidad and Tobago will plant all kind of frangipani to impress Richard Azar and George Aboud in Wildflower Park, and they don't have one mango tree? Why? Why?
They will say it will encourage pipers to come and
But
take
it's not going to
mangoes.
encourage pipers if you have 100,000 mango tree throughout the country. Now everybody coming for mango, so piper can't sell no mango. There's an economy of scale for everything. You have 100,000 children to feed. You plan a menu for the next 3 months, and so you are ahead of the game.
yeah, you
And
see,
your-
Philip,
and your- just
we
let me
sitting
finish-
down and
just
we
let
have
me
all
finish
the
the point.
answers.
But your small farmers, you give your small farmers, because you want them to grow and service.
What we
Right
eat in
in
the
the
school.
location.
Yeah, and the challenge with that is that there's no challenge in that. That's the
So
challenge.
you as a
There's
farmer,
no challenge.
you as a farmer,
and the thing
know
is,
that
somebody
your
not
job
thinking.
is to grow 500 pound of pumpsite. So I have to deliver 500 pound of pumpsite for my crop. So that's sold already.
We have no snow in Trinidad. We have 2 seasons, both seasons.
You and I talk agriculture and food production
all the
ad
time.
nauseam.
Yeah?
We know that that's a,
So
that
the
is
thing
a
is,
massive solution
So the
to
thing
the
is,
country.
that's a real solution.
And
That's
you
a
can get
real
corporate
solution.
society
I mean,
creating
involved.
jobs, that's saving foreign
we have
exchange,
no
that-
reason to be spending so much
lowering the
money
cost
for
of
food.
living. It is
No
outright
reason.
banditry why we don't have a food self-sufficient policy in this country. It is outright mandatory, and every single minister of agriculture we have ever had have been complicit in knowing that the only job the Ministry of Agriculture does is to facilitate the thieving of agriculture land.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I think it's like
Coming to that time.
Yeah.
Yeah? Today was a real good launch. We started off slow as is usual, but as soon as the topic kick in, you know, everybody, mad blood is fly up in the head. Trinidad and Tobago is a simple place to fix, and that is the purpose of what we plan to do. We plan to bring all of the good people that exist, that are around us, so that you see that it is a lot of us and that we could fix it. If you want a better country, you need to stand up and vote for it. I want to thank Lima McLeod Wilkinson, Deputy Political Leader. I wanted to take her time and make her closing comments.
So the contribution basically shows where we know we could fix it. We have the solution. And even if we don't have it, it works outside. It's
Success
not,
leaves clues.
Yeah, exactly. It's not rocket science. We can definitely go somewhere to get the help. So we have problems with flooding. The Dutch is fantastic with that. They are also fantastic with renewable energy.
Honeywell is one of the biggest renewable energy companies in the world, based in the Netherlands.
Right. I went Amsterdam, I went Holland, and we are driving on the road here, and this is the sea, and the village is literally down here. They are great with it. Why haven't we reached out to these people yet? We know we could do the food production. We just never had a government that did it. Everything PNM closed down, UNC just left it shut down, and then coming to talk years after, well, we could revamp it. But why you didn't do it when you
The
had the
same
chance?
people who put in money in PNM hand to not grow food, put in money in UNC hand to not grow food.
And people need to start opening their eyes and seeing now that the two of them is basically the same thing. It's just different faces to fool the tribal people.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how we
Indian
have
and African, and we just talking that all the time.
But I don't even understand why we have that as a problem when you have Indians in PNM in the top ranks and you have Africans in UNC in the top ranks.
We didn't even touch on today. We talk about food all the time. The cost of wheat went down. The cost of shipping went down, but the price of our wheat and the price of our
price
flour
of steel, everything is the same.
No, but watch. They raised the price of flour in this country 3 times. So the price of bread gone up, and the price of everything that is associated with wheat and flour gone up.
And
but the price of wheat gone back down, and the price of shipping gone back down. National Flour Mills has not lowered the price.
Exactly,
That's
a problem.
When things go up in this country, do ever come back down.
It's got to stay.
Yeah, it's got to stay.
And I heard
and
a
the merchants know
farmer talk
that.
about
The merchants know that.
where we could grow wheat here.
Yeah.
I'm on
Anyway,
a farmers
guys.
group and they said they could grow wheat here.
Yeah.
Why we not exploring all these options?
Yeah, we could grow most of the things that.
Well, I want to say that we don't have the land to grow things like that. You see, mass crops like corn, soy, wheat, that requires huge, vast acreages because it takes a lot of space to grow a little. The yield you get of flour, the yield you get from an acre of wheat is not a lot. So it's not feasible. But we could grow everything else. And I'm just adding to what you're saying, that there are so many root crops that are better than wheat. The processed flour that we eat in Trinidad is nutrition void,
Yeah.
It has no value.
Yeah. And we're just doing a disservice to the children, to everybody, with everything, in every area.
Heart disease, diabetes, stroke. That's the 3 biggest killers in Trinidad.
Exactly.
Ministry of Health knows that. Those are the numbers. If you lower the consumption of sugar, we import massive. There was a time SM Jalil and Nestle were buying more sugar than Caroni could produce. You know that? Than Caroni could produce. They had license to import their own sugar. SM Jalil and Nestle.
It remains the cocaine of the world.
Okay, but you are the government, and the Ministry of Health is supposed to guide people through public service announcements saying, listen, you need to remember that your food choices have consequences.
Yes.
Feeding your children a diet high in carbohydrates and sugar. And simple carbohydrates, not complex carbohydrates. We need complex carbohydrates for energy. But all of this, we spend $5 billion a year on public health when we could spend a fraction of that educating the people and leading them to better food choices.
Yes. So guys, today, I like today because it isn't far from the Rum Shop Talk. And so I feel comfortable.
We won't deviate, just without the rum.
Yeah. We just do have the rum, but it's the same thing. So clearly, if you invite me again, I will be here.
Brother, you're a standing guest. You want to come and tell stone at me? If you're not here, people asking where matters.
Yeah, I will come again.
You're a favorite with the ladies.
Today was a good show. And I think we touched on some very important points. People, we need to sensitize the people. Not just the people who like Phillip or who like people who will otherwise vote for the UNC and the PNM. We need to let them know why things are the way they are and how they can be better. So this show is a good show, and I think that if we really want to fix Trinidad and Tobago, we should start listening and taking some of the ideas that come out of the show as very serious. That's my contribution.
And I really appreciate having both of you here, and I look forward to having both of you here next week as we get other guests who will come and face the ferocity and the fire of this much critical thinking. And I want Trinidadians to know that what Stephen is saying, I agree with him 100%, is the foundation of all the politics that we practice, and that is issues must guide the day. We can't be majoring in minors, as he say. We can't be caught up in the thick of thin things. We have to focus on the issues that affect us, not the race and the religion and all the things that divide us. That's nonsense. who Watson Duke sleeping with, who this one Zamian with. That is not the only time it become our issue, is when it is minors and people who are victims, like the human trafficking. We want action taken there, but people's personal life, not my concern. What they say, not my circus, not my monkeys. We want a better Trinidad and Tobago, and that is the purpose of this show. The idea behind shows like this is to get the biggest amount of people who could come and help and guide you to see for yourself that there is a way forward for all of us. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you share it. We're on YouTube, we're on social media. I didn't get to share it yet. I'll do it later because David and Satish still figuring out some of the stuff in the back, because we're really going to have this technically driven. By next week we have to be ready, because a lot of the contributors are going to be overseas doctors, people that you have been seeing on CNN and Fox. They come in to talk to us with our local doctors who have been standing up and this team. So it's going to be a very interesting show. So I guess all is left for me to say is thank you very much for joining us. Please don't forget to share. Whatever page you saw this video on, go and find where you could click like, where you could click follow, so that you could get the information. Find our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button so that the information will come to you always. We'll do our part, you do yours too. Meet us halfway. Until next time, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.